I didn't see anybody shaking their heads no, so, okay. Good evening, my name is Mike Smallridge. For those of you that I have not met, I'll try to meet as many people as I possibly can. I have purchased utility, Crestridge Gardens and Holiday Gardens Utilities, and I know that I've had time to meet with some of you. And I hope to be able to talk with everyone as time goes by. By show of hands, how many people have ever been to a meeting like this, a utility meeting? How many people have been to a meeting with utility for Crestridge and Holiday Gardens? Have you been here that long? So I was just curious. So the previous owners of Holiday Gardens, Crestridge, have never had a meeting with you guys? Okay. When I do voluntarily all my utilities, I have an annual meeting. So if this is something that you folks want to do year after year, I'll be happy to come here and do that. I just need to gauge any interest. So if you guys are willing to come back, I see a lot of heads nodding. So okay, we'll make sure we have these every year. With me today is Judy, who most of you know, and Evelyn. These are the ladies in the office that work on our billing and customer info. They have two lists with them. Evelyn has a list of folks that have any billing issues or if you'd like to receive your bill via email. She has those sign-up sheets. And then Judy has a list of any other issues that anybody has. What I'm going to do here today, because we're limited on time, we got about 50 minutes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do probably a quick 5-minute presentation, and then I'm going to take all your questions and answers. If you have an ongoing issue, I may answer a short question and direct you back to Judy. She'll write it down, and we will address them one by one and get back to you either in writing or via telephone. Okay. Hang on, let me hang this up. I think I can hang it up here. Okay, let me start my little presentation here real quick and I'll get to your questions. Again, if you want to have your bills emailed to you, or if you have any particular issues that you want to write down, please see Judy and Evelyn in the back. Let's see where I did that. Okay, is everybody here from Crestridge Utilities? Is anybody here from Holiday Gardens? Okay, good. Okay, very good. Let me tell you what's going on. This is kind of the latest breaking news. This is not usually part of my presentation, but everybody in Crestridge right now is under a boil water notice. And there's two reasons for that. This past Saturday, we had an emergency line break over kind of on the north side of the system. You guys got to keep in mind, this is an old system that hasn't had a lot of maintenance done to it, and parts are hard to find. So we weren't able to repair it. The line that's over there is an asbestos concrete line, and there's particular fittings that I had to order out of California to get here. So I can't release you from the boil water notice until we get it fixed. The second part, and the other reason why I'm extending the boil water notice, and just let me back up. When the pressure in a utility falls below 20 pounds, are required by law to put you on a boil water notice. It's a precautionary measure. It doesn't mean that the water is bad. It's advising you that there may or may not be a problem, so it's a precautionary measure. When we lift that, we have to have water tests sampled, and those are very expensive. So I chose, in order to save us some all money and time, to leave us under a boil water notice so I can get that other leak repaired. And because the system has not been very well maintained, there are isolation valves in the system that allow me to be able to shut those valves off and shut off certain areas so everybody's not inconvenienced, I should say. What's happened since I've got the system is that those valves haven't been exercised, they haven't been working. So I kind of looked at the map and said, what's my greatest chances here? And we found two valves that allowed me basically to cut off everything, cut off or leave on, I should say, north of Flora and south of Flora. So kind of not really in half, but those two areas. So if there's a leak south of Flora, I can shut those valves off and people north of Flora won't be without water and back and forth. One of the valves we were able to dig up and repair. The other valve, we dug it up and it's not repairable, we have to replace it, and that came in today. So our project, our task first thing Monday morning is to go start digging everything up, get our parts back on hand, and this time, by Monday afternoon, because I have to look at the weather next week, I'm gonna have guys working outside. So we will send you a notice in the envelope telling you what day we're gonna shut the system down and make those repairs. That will repair the leak on the asbestos concrete line and also the other valves. So in the future, hopefully after next week, we do have other leaks we have to do an emergency repair on, then we'll be able to inconvenience at least half of you. And until I can get time to my guys to go out and go on each corner and find the valves and dig them up and see if they're working, then we can hopefully in the future minimize that down to a smaller and smaller level. I wanted to explain to you the difference between a scheduled shutdown and a emergency. It's probably pretty obvious and common, but on a scheduled shutdown, I try very hard to hold it to one time a year, where I'm going to send you a letter and say, it basically says on a certain time, on a certain day, we're going to shut down the system to make repairs, general repairs. There are times when pipes break, people run them over. There was a gentleman in Holiday Gardens not too long ago was out digging around the yard and put a shovel right through a 4-inch main. We lost 100,000 gallons of water. So these things happen. I don't break them, but I have to fix them. So in an emergency situation, we go shut down the water, get it repaired. And that's when the boil water notice goes out. So the difference being is that when you get your thing in the letter, you're going to, at that point in time, that's telling them this day we're going to shut it down, you're going to get your boil water notice as a part of that letter. If we do an emergency leak, we're going to leave a door hanger on your door, and no, we cannot put them in the mailboxes against federal law. I've already been warned about that one time. So that's the difference between the two scenarios. So hopefully by next week, this is a slow process. I'm trying to do 25 years of maintenance and catch up. What should have been done, a long time ago, but it wasn't done. So I wanted to tell you, getting on kind of to the presentation, that because Holiday Gardens and Crestridge pump more than 100,000 gallons of water per day, we have to do an annual water audit with the Southwest Florida Water Management District. And we were using the water audit for 2013 was about 72,000 gallons a day. So I fully embrace some programs that are out there. If you remember, before I took over, everybody was getting their bills on a little postcard. Now you get them in an envelope. That, to me, solves a lot of problems. But also, we put what we call stuffers in there. The residents of Crestridge, we were working with the community to get the newsletter put in there. We're happy to do that. It's no cost. But also, you'll see on your seats here are some flyers from the statewide 811 program. I'm begging you, please. If you're going to dig in your yard, I don't care what you're going to do, please call the 811 program. We will come out and mark the water line. It doesn't cost you anything. Because if you don't do it and you go out and dig a hole, we're going to come repair it and we're going to send you a bill. And you're going to have to pay it.
Yeah, it'll be a big one.
Yeah, the gentleman in Holiday Gardens is almost $1,000. So it's extremely expensive. So I'm begging you, please. It's going to save us all a lot of time and a lot of trouble. If I don't have to go out and fix a leak because you're out putting in a new tree or digging a fence hole, I can concentrate the time on something else. And we don't have to go to this boil water notice. We don't have to go through the whole scenario again. It's just, I can't gauge, how effective this is. But if I don't have any calls on leaks because somebody did something wrong, then I have to assume that it's probably working pretty good. So the water, I wanted to tell you that the water audit is public information, and it is available through the Water Management District if you're into that kind of thing, and if you're curious about that. The reason I bring that up is because when I first came on board and started looking at these figures, I knew there was not something right. So I had the flow meters at the wells calibrated. Calibrated meaning they come out with a sonar tester and they see if they're accurate. And not to my surprise, they weren't accurate. So at Holiday Gardens, we've replaced all that. But in Crestridge, we're still working on some of that infrastructure stuff. So the water audit is not going to be 100% accurate for two reasons. Number one, we're not, at all the wells, we're not currently properly measuring the amount of water coming out of the ground. And there's a lot of customer meters out here. We've replaced, I don't know, 30 or 40, I think, at this point, but there's a lot of them that are not reading at all. So we're not measuring the water on the other end. If you have a meter issue, please see Judy, we'll set it down, we'll get it down, but I know we spend a lot of time and a lot of money fixing the ones that were out there now. And we will continue to do that, and it's going to be a very long process. What I want to talk about here briefly is what we're doing now and what we're going to do in the future, then I'm going to take your questions. Crestridge, well number 4 is, I don't know if you know what that is, but well number 4, we have scheduled to replace that hydropneumatic tank. That tank is from the 1970s. We're going to redo the piping, and we've already replaced the check valve in there and install a new flow meter, and then we're going to replumb that the correct way to make sure that we don't have any instances in there. Well number 3 is that's the one that was struck by lightning and blew the tank up. We're going to be adding a new tank hopefully this year, and then all that infrastructure inside will have to be replaced because of the lightning damage. And then well number 2 is the one right over there. That one is pretty much all brand new. Only thing we have to do is replace the flow meter there. So we're making big strides to be able to, assure that you have water and it's a good quality. I have my own people. You guys, some of you guys have already met Jackie Love, who's my utilities supervisor, and he's the one who's been doing all the work, replacing valves and shutoffs and boxes and what have you. So it's important tonight that I get your feedback on what particular issues you have, and it's important that I get you to give that information to Judy so we can address this one by one and try to upgrade the system. My wish is that I could wave my magic wand and all these problems would go away and everything would be new again, but it's not, and it's a slow process. So I wanted to tell you, hang on, let me hang this up. Excuse me, it's warm in here. Okay, as you well know, the utility is regulated by the Florida Public Service Commission. And on this sheet, I put their website address. And I say this to everybody every year. There's a list of things I go through to remind people of. But on the commission website, you can get a copy of the utilities annual report. They're due from us to the commission by March 1st. So I would say somewhere after March, you can be able to pick that up if you're so inquired. And I have filed with the commission for a staff assisted rate case. If you want to look, all those documents in there are all public documents. You're welcome to look at them and contact the commissioner or myself if you have any problems, but you need to know the docket number. So if you're in Crestridge, you're the top docket number, and if you're in Holiday Gardens, you're the bottom docket number. And we will be sending customer notices as the rate cases progress. These things usually take 8 months to a year to complete. And then keep in mind that the Public Service Commission staff, once they develop the new rate structure, will come here and have a meeting with the customers. And at that time, you can tell the commission anything you want. So, and then there's also, once you get to that point, there's an electronic way to submit information to the commission in case you can't be here. We're videotaping this meeting. It's going to be put on YouTube. We're going to have a YouTube channel. So if you have somebody that's not able to be here tonight, you're welcome to send them off to the YouTube channel and they can watch the meeting. Okay, I'm going to take your questions. As I said before, we have limited time. I'm not going to get into what the prior owners did. I wasn't here. I don't know the answer to your question what the prior owners did. What we're going to talk about today is what's happening today and what's going forward. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Why weren't we notified to boil water? There were a bunch of us that have never, we had no idea. So we're still drinking that water.
And nobody has told us a word.
Nothing. No paper, nothing.
You didn't get a flyer that was on your door?
No, we did not.
Nothing.
How many folks here today would be interested in if remember the Saturday was an emergency situation, so we fixed we temporarily repaired the leak first and then handed out the boil water notices. But who here would be interested in getting an email alert
We don't
on
have
those
that.
situations? I realize everybody doesn't have email. I'm asking who, if you have email, would you be interested in getting an email alert from us in these situations? Okay, if you do, if you got your hand up, at some point in time, please see Judy and let her get down your email address, and whenever these situations come up, whether Monday through Friday or Saturday or Sunday, because it seems like they always break at 2 o'clock on Sunday morning, we will send you out an email alert. There's about 615 customers in Crestridge. So if we started calling everybody the minute it broke, it's going to take a long time to do it. So there's a practical part to what I have to accomplish. I have to get the leak repaired first, and then we immediately go to passing out the boil water notices. There's just no other way around it. Yes, ma'am.
We live on Odyssey, and we did get the boil water notice, but we didn't get it until the next late morning, and we had already been using water.
Yeah, well, we live on Odyssey, and
Okay.
we didn't get it.
Really?
Okay.
They passed them out, I mean, there were 2 people passing
They
them
must
out.
have gone just.
The thing that happened in the past with another one of my utilities was we were putting them on the door, and if we couldn't get in their gate or whatever, we were putting them in the post office in the mailbox. And I got a nice little letter from the postmaster that says you can't do that anymore. So am I going to tell you that the wind didn't blow it off? Maybe it did. I mean,
See them in the yard.
if there's some people that have gates that are locked, and we can't get in.
No.
So hopefully the
They have a
email
hold
alert
of
will be
both
able
of them, they
to.
weren't.
Yes, ma'am. Did you have a question?
Yes, last week a woman called me because she was having a flood from a neighbor. And we could not find an emergency number on your bill. But I looked on the old bill and I found an emergency number on that and gave it to her. Apparently it worked because she never called me back. But there is no emergency number on your bill.
Okay, thank you for letting me know that. We will take care of that immediately.
And just a recording when you do
Did
call.
you have a question, ma'am? Sorry, go ahead.
When I call the emergency number, all you get is recording. I want a person. Saturday I can understand because it's a weekend, but Monday when the water was turned off, at lunch, I called and got a recording. I'm pretty sure you were open for business that day. We should be able to speak to Judy or Evelyn.
Yeah, we're closed from lunch from 12 to 1 for lunch.
Okay, but even later in the day. You just get a
Okay.
recording.
Okay, thank you for mentioning that. I will look into that and make sure that problem gets corrected.
Like turn the knob, turn us off.
Yes, sir. Sure, take your time.
I was trustee and the mayor of my village for 8 years and a volunteer fireman for 27. That prompts some of my questions. Before I say that, I think that our water is pretty good quality, and I think the price is more than fair compared to many other communities in this area. That being said, when was the most recent ISO hydrostatic flow test taken? Or don't they do that?
For the fire hydrants, you mean?
Yep.
I did that the second week I owned the utility. We tested all the fire hydrants.
And you have 5 wells in Crestridge?
No, I
Are
have
they
3,
3?
yes.
Are they all operational?
No, only 2 of them are.
Only 2.
Originally, let me further clarify what your
Sure.
question was. Originally, when the utility was built, there was 5 wells. Back, as I understand it, again, I wasn't here, and it's only been hearsay, so I can't tell you this is 100% true, but sometime back in the late 70s, early 80s, well number 5, I think, and 2 of the wells had saltwater intrusion. So they were done over with, can't pump salt water. The other 3 are working. One is the primary well, another one, the other 2 are meant to be supplemental or backup wells. The other one was struck by lightning, the tank exploded, and fried everything inside, all wiring, pumps, the whole 9 yards. That all has to be rebuilt and replaced. So right now we're running on 2 wells, which is more than adequate. Everybody has plenty of pressure, there's no problem. It is my goal sometime this year to get that 3rd well back online. But it's just gonna take a lot of time, it all has to be permitted, it all has to be water tested, it's a long, long process.
I realize the problems you have because my village had many of them. too.
Okay.
What is the size of most of the mains?
Either 4 or 6 inch.
4?
Talking about transmission lines,
Yeah,
4 or 6 inch.
4 and 6. Cool. You've already talking about improvements in that. When there's a breakdown like that, is the fire department notified that there is no water in one particular quadrant or another?
No,
Okay.
no.
They should be.
Okay. That's it, and I thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is the first time in 22 years we've had a forum such as this where we can address questions.
Well, like I told you before, I voluntarily do this on my own as an effort to keep up communications with the customers, which I think is extremely important. And let me tell you why I think it's extremely important, because this is where I'm on a city water system, and so it applies to me also, the customer. I want to have confidence. I want to have confidence that where my water is coming from, what I'm drinking, is safe, clear, and it's being maintained. And I know that has not been going on out here in the past. Like I say, I wasn't here. There's nothing to do about the past, but we can do a lot of things in the future. What I'm begging you to do is help me. Help me help you. Don't go out and dig holes and bust the pipes, please. If you see a leak, call us. These emergency numbers and these issues, I promise you, will be straightened out by the first 10 minutes I get in the office in the morning. Okay? So we'll get that problem solved. But these meetings are also beneficial to me because it brings up issues that I may or may not be aware of. I have 10 utilities and several thousand customers. So a lot of times my time is spread thin. So this is a good input method for me, and I really do appreciate it. I want to keep these adult conversations going so we can all work together for a common cause. Yes, sir.
When you replaced the one that got hit by lightning, were you tacking on each bill to pay for that? How does that work?
Well, no, I don't. You bring up a good point. Let me bring it out a little bit. This is a Florida Public Service regulated utility. So the docket numbers I have down here are rate cases that I filed. So what I've done is I've sent a piece of paper to the Florida Public Service Commission that says, I have to make these repairs, I have to fix this, I have to paint that, blah, blah, blah. And I send them multiple bids on everything that we have to do. And what the Public Service Commission does is they get all this information, they put it together, and they develop a rate. And then that's when they'll come back to you with their customer meeting. It'll be very similar to this. They'll present the rates to you, they'll tell you what is in there, and then you can, hang on, let me finish my point. So the direct answer to your question is, I don't tack it on. Rate design is solely in the jurisdiction of Florida Public Service Commission. I don't have any say-so of what that rate was going to be. What I submit to them is what repairs need to be done and how much it's going to cost. So when the commission gets here, and it's probably going to be in the next 4 to 5 months, you guys, you can either do it electronically, you can reply, you can sign up to have them send you emails, and or you can come to the meeting and voice your concerns. Did that answer your question?
Well,
Yes, sir.
just off the cuff a little bit, I thought maybe they bond that out, sell bonds on it.
No, sir.
So it's gotta be
Private
fair.
utilities in the state of Florida are not allowed to bond. Yes, ma'am.
You said that we will be able to receive bills via email.
Yes,
Will you also change the policy where you will accept credit cards so that you can pay your bill via the email or via the web?
yes, glad you brought that up, because that's something I was gonna talk tonight. I do my little show of hands deal. Right now, the way all my other utilities are set up is that you can call over the phone and make a payment with a credit card. If you want to do that, there's a fee attached to that. When we swipe that card or type in that number, the bank and the credit card companies charge us a fee. So that fee is passed along to the customers. We don't make a single dime on it. It's a pass-through thing. So I hadn't brought it up to this point because the office is, 2 miles away. My initial thought was, and we've kind of been doing a lot of asking people, and there hasn't been a whole lot of interest. So is there a show of hands? Is anybody interested in making a payment with their credit card?
Well, I was asking you, can you automatically take it out of somebody's checking account if they ask you to?
Okay, you're getting ahead of me. I will answer that question. Hang on, just let me finish the first question.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of interest in taking payments with a credit card. What you're talking about, ma'am, is ACH or doing an online secure type deal on the computer. Those are a lot more expensive. I'll be happy to do it, but there's a lot of fees that go along with it. If that's something you want to do, tell me now, and what I'll do is I'll send it to the Florida Public Service Commission with the rates and fees, and they'll bring that back to you and put that option in there. Right now, our fees are running about $3. That's a pass-through, and these banks and credit card companies raise these things all the time, so it's continually going up and up and up and up. Yes, sir.
In other words, if I pay my bill online, which I've been doing for the last couple of years, I'm paying more on my water bill?
Well, no, what you're talking, if I understand what you're saying, correct, please correct me if I'm wrong. You go to your bank, you have them type out a check, they send that request to a processing center. The processing center prints out the check and mails it to us. No, there's no fee for that. What I'm talking about is if you go onto your computer and go to www whatever, and put in your credit card number and says, send Crestridge Utilities, $24 or whatever it is. There's a fee for that because they charge it to us.
Now I was talking about taking it automatically out of the checking account.
That's called ACH. It's the same thing as a credit card. So there's fees attached to that.
There's a fee.
The rest of my utilities are all over the state of Florida, and the office is here in Holiday. So for a lot of people, it's convenient to pay it that way. If you guys are close, you're close here, you may or may not want to do it that way. And remember, for some of you folks that are snowbirds, we have 2 free services that I offer to everybody. Number one is if you want to pay your base facility charge for the next 6 months or how long you're going to be gone, come into the office, we'll give you the best estimate. We're still going to send you an invoice every month that's going to show a credit. But if you want to pay that in advance, you're more than welcome to do that. If you are a snowbird and you're getting ready to go back home, and you want us to shut the water off at the meter before you leave, contact Judy, and we'll set a time and date, and we'll have somebody out there, and we'll shut the meter off for you and lock it free of charge. But here's the deal. When you come back, okay, I'm going to tell you all right now, I repeat, I do not turn on water to vacant homes. So if you call me the day before you're coming back and say, hey Mike, I'm coming in and we want to turn on the water, not going to happen, because I'm not going to turn that water on for a pipe that broke 2 months after you left and flooded your house out. Those days are over. So if you want to do that, and you want us to turn the water back on, be happy to do it for free. I don't want any pipe breaking anybody's house and flooding them out. But just be aware that you need to call the office before you get down here and say what day you're going to be here and a time, and we will be there. You can unlock your house, go in, we'll turn the water on, you make sure there's no leaks, and they're fine. Okay? So that's the rules of that. We'll do it for free. I'm trying to stop the water use, the water loss. I know that particular scenario that I just said has happened here before, and we're going to stop that policy. So we'll be happy to do it for free. Just let us know. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to know if you have a plan for the next emergency to let people know that they have a boil water order for the water, since none of us got notices. And even on Monday when it was off again, we still didn't get a notice. And like you said, when you call in the office, you get a recording, so how do you know?
But the recording.
Isn't that a board health issue?
Okay, if you can tell me when the next emergency is going to be, I'll give you that plan.
No. I mean, we did a security patrol. We patrolled the whole area in less than an hour. Now, if they can't deliver notices in less than an hour to all of Crestridge Gardens, then there's a problem.
Okay, the answer to your question is, what you're not understanding is that once we place you under a boil water notice, you're under a boil water notice until that boil water notice is rescinded.
But we didn't.
So if we have three leaks in one day, you're not gonna get 3 different boil water notices. You're gonna get one at a time. Okay?
We didn't get
Yes,
any.
ma'am.
We didn't get any.
I think the problem is, when we got our notice, okay?
Hang on. I'm not gonna debate. If you have a question, I'll be happy to answer your question, because other people have questions. This is not.
It's important what I have to say. Mike,
Do you have a question?
they didn't punch the hole and hang it on the door, so if the wind's blowing it, it's because they didn't work, they didn't do their job. Maybe they got it and it flew away, but it flew away because they didn't take the time to punch the hole.
Okay, I'll take care of that. Thank you. Who had a question? Anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir, in the back, in the green jacket. Did you have a question?
Hi, my name is Donald. On that well number 3, which is next to my house, do you plan to do any cleaning around there? This happened a year and a half ago, and it's a drive-through for everybody. They drive with cars there, and I'm not saying parking in front, that's not a problem. But they drive through, and if you're concerned about the pipe digging, I think they're driving on that property where all the pipes are. There's got to be a concern there.
What are you talking about?
Well, number 3, that's Gaslight.
That's the one that was blowing out. That was the one that blew out.
You know where the lightning blew the tank a year and a half ago? That's the one.
People were driving on that property?
Yes,
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, sir. And I mentioned it 3-4 times, and I mean, all we need is, and me, I can't put a sign in the back, no trespassing. It's not my property.
Okay, you're 100% right. We need to stop that. I wasn't aware of that problem. Thank you for letting me know. So are people turning off of the street, and going through the well property and then to a house in the back somewhere? Is that what they're doing?
Yes, sir.
Really? Okay, thank you.
They're also using the one Excalibur and Zodiac. There are a lot of parking on that particular piece of property. They park cars there for the day.
Yes, I have talked to those folks about that. And basically I told them if I catch them again, I'm gonna have their vehicles towed.
But I'm still within my 5 minutes, Mike. Do you chlorinate your water?
Yes,
Do you fluoridate it?
no,
Okay.
no fluoridation in the system. Fluoridated. Actually, the water quality here is a lot better than a lot of the systems that I have. There's a lot of systems we have a lot of different stuff for. Mainly the water here is chlorinated and brought out, so.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
when we have a boiled water notice, we really should be notified because we're all drinking that water. Our whole families are drinking this water. And then I found out from other people that you had to boil it. And there was all this scum on top. I mean, we didn't even get a notice at our door or at our gate. At least throw it in the gate. At least let us know.
Yeah, the reality is we have to issue the boil water notice, but I'm not allowed to come on your property. I can't put it in your mailbox. So if your gate's locked out front and I can't hang it on your door, then,
Why can't you throw it on the gate?
well, we can, and I'm not saying that we didn't.
No, you didn't. You did not.
Yes, sir.
I think common sense is that if there's a water main break and your water's shut off, wouldn't you just take that precaution anyway? Yeah, there you go. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. That's kind of why I wanted to go through the process and let everybody know what the process was. And that's a very good point.
I don't have to be notified that there's a main break because I know my water's been out for 6 hours. I think I should take precautions. But, you know, it's just common sense. Now, if you can let us know, like, hey, for the next couple of days, that's fine. I know you're not going to jump out within the first hour and have a team out in the streets delivering notices. Everybody use common sense. And then, if this is gonna be a prolonged thing, why don't you let us know? How's that?
Yes, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I think one of the most important things is...
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Please say again.
One of the most important things is people that have lived here for a long time never were in touch with the people that owned the water department. You know that, you've been told that already, so no one was ever told to boil their water after a week. people have lived here for years and never even knew that they should do that.
We are gonna make every effort we possibly can to communicate with everybody that these situations happening. What I'm hoping is that we just don't have these situations.
No.
But as time goes by, you know, we will. What I really try to do is have what I call scheduled shutdowns, where we advise you in advance that we're shutting the water system down to do repairs and maintenance. But like I said before, that's not always really something that I can just do on a timely basis. Yes, ma'am.
I posted the notices up here at the club. I don't know if that will help or not. If you.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Well, if you want to do it, at least you'll know.
Well, we'll make sure that the clubhouse gets one from now on so that we don't.
But if the water's
do
off.
that. Yes,
Are
ma'am.
we supposed to know if you have a water purifier, do you still have?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Say again?
If you have a water purifier, do you still have to boil your water?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I don't get to make that decision. Let me tell you really, as clear as I possibly can. That notice, it's called a precautionary, the key word is precautionary boil water notice. What it tells you is that the pressure of the system has dropped below 20 pounds, and there may or may not be some bacteria that grows when that happens. So I can't tell you that the water is contaminated, and I can't tell you that it's not contaminated. What I can tell you is DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, tells me that if the pressure in the system drops below 20 pounds of pressure, I have to issue a precautionary boil water notice. So I can't tell you if your filter is going to do that, and I can't tell you that it's not. I have to follow the rules. So what happens, the procedure is, once we solve whatever problem caused it to go below 20 pounds of pressure, then the operator comes out, takes 2 consecutive water tests 24 hours apart to a lab. They certify that the water is clean to drink, and then we issue the rescission of boil water notice, which is a whole nother flyer, email, note on the door, whatever we can get to. So that's the process. I don't make it up. I just have to follow the law. So I know that there's a lot of information on that in DEP's website. If you're so inclined, you can go there and probably read about it forever. I just know the rules that I have to follow. So the direct answer to the question is, I don't know. Yes, sir.
Did I understand you before this, to answer that gentleman's question? Was the fire department notified that we have no water in this development?
No.
And why not?
Why not? I was gonna ask the same question, why not?
Why not?
If any of our houses catch fire and the water, and the fire department was over here, they have no foreknowledge of no water?
Well, part of the answer to that, I mean, if the system was going to be off for an entire day, like we're going to do a scheduled shutdown, we're going to shut the system off from 9:30 to 4:30, which is what we typically do. At that point in time, yes, we would notify the fire department. But if it's an emergency break and we're going to repair it, no, I don't call the fire department because I have to give boil water notice. I have to fix a leak. I have to get boil water notices out. We have to call everybody. So no, I'm not. Meaning that the water's not going to be down for a long time. I suppose, Judy, write this down. We're going to call the fire marshal and see if there's an email or a phone number we can call so when we have these situations. I mean, I don't mind doing it, it's just something I've never done. Because it's never been really relevant. Yes, sir.
If you were gonna do some preventative.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Say
Do some repair, and you know anything about it in advance, you place little flags out like we do up north for gas or electric, so that you wouldn't dig in that area. I mean, if there's water going through the backyard, I wanna plant a tree. I don't wanna run into a water somewhere.
Right, that's what I explained earlier. That's that flyer you have, the 811 system. If you're doing that, call 811. That's why everybody here got one. And if you want more, I'll be happy to give you more. We also put these in the envelopes periodically to remind everybody of this process. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Mike, we know you're taking over a very old system. Do you have any plans in the future to replace any of the water mains that are causing all these leaks? That's going to cause all the outages, so to speak. And yes, we understand it's going to be very, very costly. I'm just asking, is there any plans for that in the future?
Yes, and you brought up a good point. let me answer your question in this way. The Florida Public Service Commission is not gonna let me come in. I figured out that by the time we get done doing everything, we're gonna spend $500,000 in Crestridge and probably about $350,000 in Holiday Gardens. So the commission's not gonna let me come in and do all that one time. They're not gonna jack the rates up to $50 a month water bills. Okay, so I have to do it in phases. And when I do it in phases, I have to prioritize. And I have to look at, let me rephrase that. I submit to them what I think is the priority. I submit to them what I think is the best course of action to do. And they will ultimately determine if they agree with me or not, or in whatever form they agree with me and what. That being said, we set that up. So what I prioritize for this year is getting another well back online, so we have no loss of service issues. And because we have to do a water audit with the Water Management District, and we are right now under a remedial action plan, that means they're scrutinizing everything I do, I have to report everything I do to the Water Management District because they want to conserve water. So those are the two top priorities. Once I get those done, then we'll move on. The first set of piping that I'm going to replace is the asbestos cement line that runs partially in Crestridge. We'll get that old stuff out of there and replace that. But these days, when I first started utilities 25 years ago, you went out and fixed a piece of pipe, you want to lay some more in your pipe and put it in. Now today it's permits, water testing, right-of-way permits, resodding. It's a whole bureaucracy. I mean, it takes a long time with a lot of permits to replace a water line. So it's just the way it is. These are the only two systems I have in Pasco County. I can tell you only tell you what I know. What I know is the systems I have in Marion County and Polk County and Sarasota County, generally the people in government are pretty easy to work with. I'm hoping it's that way here in Pasco County, but I just don't know. So, but we'll know, further going down the road. The big issue that I'm kind of trying to skirt around now is the electrical panels and all the electrical equipment and all these well houses in Crestridge is all 1974, 1975 technology. And right now they're all working. We made some minor adjustments, repairs, replacing some capacitors and what have you. So I'm hoping we can keep it limping along. But if they start going out, I gotta call in electricians and get permits, and that's really expensive. So everybody hope and pray that we can keep the electrical panels running for another 6-8 months until we can get them upgraded. Then we won't have any problems. Where the issue lies is when we start putting in new pumps and all the other stuff that's required, that's mandatory by law, they all work on higher voltage, and all that stuff has to be upgraded. So I know you guys probably don't want to hear about that, but that's really the reason. Yes, sir.
Jay, when you replace this, are you replacing it with the same kind of stuff that was there before, or do you have new plastic pipeline or something?
But are you particularly talking about pipe? Or are you talking about electronic components?
Whatever it takes to pump the water to your home, I don't know.
Well, the
My
cement
dad's an excavator up north, and I'm just curious about sewer and water, goes in the same thing. And if they change the water, they take away the copperness, and they put in the sewer, they put in plastic now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll go back to PVC. Yes, sir. And the lateral lines from the main pipe under the road to your house will be polytubing, the blue polytubing. That stuff, they say it has a 50 to 75 year shelf life, as opposed to PVC that's running about 50 years. So the newest thing is to go
The
to
trees
polypipe.
can't get in there, that's what I'm saying. If you've got trees, the roots can get in the other stuff. But that plastic.
Well, that's the way it used to be, but I don't know. This leak over here, the one that happened Saturday morning, did I tell you what caused that to leak? It was a repair that somebody made I should say somebody made in the past. And they really did a bad job of doing it. And the tree roots grew into it. And when there was a coupling there, they tightened down too tight, it caused the pipe to crack. When that little hairline crack happened, those tree roots got in there, and as the tree roots grew, they grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and they ended up cracking the pipe all the way down. And it just so happened we had one little repair coupling one site that we were able to get in there to kind of work, but it wasn't the correct way to do it. So, and we didn't have any of that stuff, and like I say, we had to order it in. So, anybody else have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a question, but on Saturday when there wasn't any water, I dug out one of the old postcard bills and called the emergency number, and the recording told me that we are aware of the problem with the water and it'll be fixed soon. There is a boil water notice in effect until further notice.
I got the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
And then on Monday when it happened again, I did the same thing and got the same message.
Good, thank you very much.
Is that message on your utility message at yahoo.com?
That's the general email address for the office. Yeah, so if you, I put that up there, so if you have any, what have you, we can send you an email. Okay, we have another meeting coming up here very shortly. So let me wrap up and say, if you want to receive your bills via email, please see Evelyn in the back. If you have a particular issue that we've talked about, you want to get a note of it with your phone number and address so we can look into the issue, correct it, and get back with you, and that is with Judy. So I thank you all for coming. I will see you along the year sometime, and I'll be glad to come back next year and we'll have this meeting again. And I'll be able to give you nothing more than that. Thank you.